Hi, I'm Clay with CPAP My Way and CPAPMyWay.com. Today we're here to talk to you a little bit about something we hear about all the time, and that is CPAP compliance. Specifically, what is CPAP compliance, or how much do I have to use a CPAP to be qualified for trucking or through my insurance carrier, etc. So to start with, we're going to define compliance. CPAP compliance as an industry standard is using your CPAP 70% of the time, greater than 4 hours per night. So for example, that would be 21 days out of 30 days. And in those 21 days, each of those 21 days has to be greater than 4 hours of usage. And that is a cumulative usage over a 24-hour period on those days. So if you used it for 2 hours here and then 2 hours later in the day, that counts as a compliant day. I will say though that 70% compliance is not the same with every insurance carrier, nor with every trucking company, which is what we run into frequently. For instance, one of the larger trucking companies we work with requires 90% compliance, or they will pull you off the road. As a reiteration, 3 hours and 59 minutes does not count as a compliant day. So you might have been close, but it won't count unless you're over the 4-hour mark. And it is not an average thing. So you can't use it as an average of 4 hours over 21 days. It has to have been used 4 hours each day for a minimum of 21 out of 30 days to be considered compliant on a 30-day report. Also of note, the DOT clinics we work with sometimes will require a 90-day compliance report, which is obviously more time. And then there are a few cases where we need to provide a full year's report to some of the DOT clinics. So the key is use your CPAP at least 4 hours per day. You don't have to worry about a thing. Another tip is that you have to wear the CPAP for it to be counting towards your compliant hours for the day. You can't trick the machine and hook it up to your pillow and hope that it's going to record those hours. If it does not detect you breathing on the CPAP, it will not count those hours. If you leave the machine running while you get up to go get a glass of water and then come back 30 minutes later, those 30 minutes are now being thrown out of your potential compliance time for the day. Additionally, many softwares that report compliance start the day at 12 noon. That's important to remember for our night shift people, because if you're working at night and then you're sleeping during the day, you're going to keep in mind that that day is going to get split at noon. So if you sleep from 10 to 2, you're going to get 2 hours on the previous day and 2 hours on the next day. As long as you're using it, 4 hours a day, it'll work out correctly. But if you're really on the cusp there, you're going to want to keep that in mind. We've got quite a few people in that boat. Obviously, that's because most people sleep at night. The thing you will want to consider if you've just tested positive for sleep apnea and you're a truck driver is that more than likely you've been given an allotted amount of time. We hear a lot of times 90 days extension on your medical card so that you can get tested for CPAP and then potentially get on a CPAP before they will renew your medical card. So we always want to point out that you're on a time crunch here, right? We can obviously help, but if you procrastinate to the end of those 90 days, it's going to be very difficult to get you a 30-day report if you don't have 30 days left in your extension time. So we always want to impart to you that if you're going to have to get a CPAP, it's best to do it early. The other thing we want to talk about is, why is compliance required? Well, for insurance companies, they're going to require it to pay for it. Basically, if you don't use it, you lose it, and the thing's getting repoed by your provider because the insurance carrier is not going to pay your provider anymore. CPAP My Way, because we are a self-pay option, does not require compliance on our own. However, many of our customers that are truck drivers are required to be compliant by their DOT clinic for their medical card purposes, and in many cases also required to be compliant by the trucking companies they work for, because it's a bit of a danger on the road to have drowsy driving, and so it's a liability for the company if they don't prove that you're actually using the prescribed medical equipment to keep you safe on the road. The other thing we want to talk about are tips and tricks for becoming compliant. So there's a few things you can do to help yourself, especially when you're starting on CPAP therapy. A really cool thing to do is to use the CPAP a little bit during the day. Now, obviously, you weren't diagnosed with daytime apnea, at least as far as we've heard of before. So it's not going to be therapeutic in any way. However, what it will do is help you get over the hurdle, the mental hurdle of wearing a CPAP mask on your face and sleeping with it. You know, if you become accustomed to it during the day, maybe while you're watching some TV, you're reading a book, whatever it is that you might do to distract yourself, it will make the usage of it at night 10 times easier, 10 times faster. Additionally, those minutes or hours that you're spending working and practicing on your CPAP are considered usage hours. So for instance, if you were able to use it an hour before bed while watching TV, then you've cut yourself down to a minimum of 3 hours usage for the rest of that day. So it's helpful on both sides of that. The other thing we encourage you to do is try different masks. I know for sure that if you're not comfortable, you're going to have a tough time using the CPAP. That's the primary focus. A mask has to do two things. It has to be comfortable enough to use, and it also has to be effective. So, with us, when you start with us, we give you a 30-day guarantee on that. So you can exchange it as many times as you want for free. But if you're working with another provider, make sure you do whatever you can to try different masks if you're not comfortable. If you're not comfortable, you're not going to use it. Another thing you might want to try is following up with your personal doctor. A lot of times they can review the data that is on your CPAP machine and find little things that may be off or wrong, make adjustments for you, and it can make a world of difference on the comfort level and therapy level of your CPAP. So that can help big time as well. The last thing we want to talk to you about is how do I get a compliance report? So in order to prove that you are compliant, you need a report from the software related to the device that you have. Every manufacturer has different software. We at CPAP My Way are obviously partners with all of them and can get you compliance reports off of pretty much any CPAP that provides it anyway. To do that, you're going to do it in one of three ways. Modern machines typically have a cell phone modem, so a 4G modem built inside of it that relays your data wirelessly, or at least a Bluetooth function where you can link your phone wirelessly, which will report the data back to us or your provider or doctor. So those are the two easiest ways to do it. I mean, it's instantaneous, you don't have to do a whole lot of work, and it's something that we do for you if you're buying a CPAP with us. The third way, and it's a little more old-fashioned, is a good old SD card. Almost every new CPAP, home CPAP, comes with an SD card that can be downloaded physically into a computer via the software that comes for that manufacturer. It is the tried and true method, and certainly as long as you have access to someone where you can download that card, you'll have the reporting you need as long as you use the CPAP. We do data card downloads. I think it's $20, something like that. So if you ever need one and you're not our customer, reach out. We could certainly help you. If anyone buys a CPAP with us, we provide free lifetime compliance reporting. So as long as you've bought a machine that's capable of it, we will get your data and provide it to your DOT clinic or anyone else that needs it on your behalf. In a lot of cases, if you're not our customer, it may be a bit difficult to get a download, especially if your company's gone out of business or if you purchased it, from a random online retailer that, doesn't provide support. However, we can help, so reach out and we'd be happy to do so. So thanks for watching our compliance video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. We'd be happy to answer them as long as we can. If you like the video, please like. If you want more information and videos like this, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.